I'm unable to see you, so I'll just have to raise my hand to vote.
But you can hear everything okay?
I can hear you clearly, I just can't see anything.
Okay, thank you. You can mute for now if you like.
No problem.
Thank you. So that's the record of attendance. Are there any disclosures of interest, councillors? I have one disclosure of interest from Councillor Sislak, and it's in relation to item number 13.1.2 on page 25 of the agenda, and it's an impartiality interest. She's got a membership. She's a social member with the Thornley Bowling Club. So that's fine for that. There are other disclosures of interest. Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
So do I. Exactly the same as Councillor Sislak.
Thank you. Councillor Dewhurst has an impartiality interest on that item as well, as he's a social member. Still be able to vote, just you needed to declare that. Thank you. No other disclosures of interest, councillors? No, thank you. Announcements of presiding member. There are none today. I mean, we've had lots going on, of course. There's been lots of events and whatnot over the city, but there aren't any specific announcements from me this evening. Thank you. Reports of delegates. Councillor Betts? No? Councillor Dalton, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This morning, the South East Regional Energy Group met here at City of Gosnells to progress its objectives of increasing community capacity for energy conservation and reducing corporate emissions. A key discussion centred on findings from the Home Energy Performance Survey, which examined homeowner experience between 2020 and 2025 under the 6-star and now 7-star NatHERS requirements. Feedback indicated that decisions around more efficient builds were largely price-driven, with limited proactive information provided by builders regarding sustainability or energy performance. The committee discussed how knowledge could be elevated earlier in the design and approvals process, including better engagement prior to build. Financial reporting confirmed that both the Switch Your Thinking program and the Energy Efficiency Pilot program remain in a strong position. The committee is on track to fully acquit the $500,000 state government allocation under the pilot program, with expenditure aligned to budget projections. Planning for upcoming funding rounds is underway, with a further meeting proposed to consider the 26-27 subscribing council package and partnership.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dalton. Any other? Thank you, Councillor Islam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This morning, Madam Mayor and myself attended the Metro Outer Development Assessment Panel for the childcare proposal in Lot 161, 139 Nicholson Road in Canningville. The proposal was approved. The proposal includes 2-story childcare building, activity rooms downstairs, and a staff area in upstairs, for up to 116 children and 29 staff at any one time. The operating hours 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. The outdoor play area is 814 square meter. There will be 28 on-site car parking bays, vehicle access from Nicholson Road with one crossover removed to improve the safety. Also, acoustic fencing and landscaping included to reduce the noise and improve amenity. And also, we have added conditions of approval that will manage traffic, parking, and neighbouring impacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Any other reports, councillors? No? Move on to question time for the public and the receiving of public statements. Question time, we just have the one question tonight from Tracy O'Neill. If you could come forward. Well, she's got more than one question, but the one person for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just looking for an update on the Clifford Road extension in the Mooksy Precinct 1.
Thank you, and Mr CEO will respond to that.
Madam Mayor, we've got no update. Hesperia were working to actually construct the road, and the last date advised was they hoped to have it finished by the end of March.
March. Thanks so much. For my next one, can we also get an update on the Kenwick Dog Park?
Thank you, and the Director for Infrastructure, Mr Martin Glover. Welcome back, Mr Glover. He's had a bit of a holiday, so welcome back. Ready to answer the question about the dog park. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm pleased to advise the design process for the enclosed dog park is now complete, and we anticipate being out to the public in the very near future.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And just lastly, is there a public document showing which playgrounds have been upgraded and when those upgrades happened, and also the schedule for future playgrounds to be upgraded and when those will happen?
And Mr CEO will answer that one.
Madam Mayor, there's no specific public document about upgrading public playgrounds. It really is found in budget documents for each year.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for your questions. We'll now move on to public statement time, and we have several public statements, but those that are making public statements, just remember you have 3 minutes. You will hear a little bell, and then if you do go over, we will just turn your microphone off. So the first one is from Suleiman Borat, and it's relating to item 13.2.6 on page 111 of the agenda, and it's related to the proposal of use from warehouse to community purpose at 33 Tulloch Way, Canning Vale. Thank you very much, Mr. Borat. Thank you.
This is my first time. I wasn't expecting to be the first one up.
Oh, well,
but anyway,
you're lucky.
Yeah,
Thank
girls. Yeah, it's for the change of use from a warehouse to a community centre at 33 Tulloch Way, Canning Vale. So, I would just like to thank the Madam Mayor, the councillors and staff for this opportunity. ICRA Foundation is a community not-for-profit organisation with deductible gift recipients status. And they look at facilitating the need to address community wellness in the form of women's counselling services, assisting with vulnerable family issues, including but not limited to domestic violence, children's vernacular classes, activities and get-togethers for the public, and overall mental well-being for the community. Our revised plans that we've added up to 25 car bays from the initial application, which had only 12. And all of this after consulting with the local council planners, Liam that was here previously, and I commend them for assisting us in that matter. We also have a substantial train station parking about 200 metres away, which I'm sure can and will be used by some patrons. This facility is a community centre, just like any council community centre, which has a restriction on the number of people and is not based on the size of the building. And we are asking for the same. I would like to ask the council to approve this, as there's merit in doing so, and it will greatly benefit the Muslim community in our ever-growing and diverse city of Gosnells precinct, which will in turn benefit the wider community through education, tolerance, and understanding. Thank you very much. I think I was really under 3 minutes. Thanks.
Well done, sir. Thank you. You can leave that on. You could leave that on for the next person. Thank you. So the next person is Ben Laycock from Altus Plumbing, and it's relating to item number 13.2.6 on page 106 of the agenda, which is the development application for the proposed change of use from warehouse to community purpose at lot 68, number 33 Tulloch Way, Canning Vale. Thank you. 3 minutes, sir.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Ben Laycock from Altus Planning, the applicant's consultant town planner for item 13.2.6. The purpose of my deputation tonight is to strongly urge you to pursue an alternative recommendation of approval. As it was back in July 2024, the sticking point remains in the wording of the city's parking requirement, which is one space for every 4 persons the facility is designed to accommodate. As per the deemed provisions, local governments have discretion to vary on-site parking requirements on the basis that reasonable efforts have been made and that the parking is adequate for the demands of the development. The revised proposal now includes 13 undercroft parking bays, doubling the number of bays previously presented. As for the demand, the attendees will either be registered for classes and or booked in for an appointment. Therefore, adherence to the maximum capacity can be controlled. With a total of 25 car parking bays, the site could accommodate up to 100 persons on the basis of a 1-to-4 parking ratio. However, approval is only being sought for up to 60 persons, and therefore more than sufficient parking is proposed. This is without considering the new train station, which is approximately 300 metres from the site. Council has previously granted approvals with conditions that cap the number of attendees. This includes a place of worship on Brooklyn Street in Beckenham that the Council approved in September 2024. In that application, the parking shortfall was calculated as 205 bays, whereas for this proposal, the shortfall is 46 bays, and we do not have the same unpredictability with attendees for worship. We therefore urge Council to consider the application on its merits and submit that the applicant should be afforded the opportunity to implement their proposal as they say they will, rather than making a determination that's based on speculation. If it's required, Council can condition an approval on the basis of a parking management plan that is prepared prior to commencement. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr Laycock, and I do apologise for saying Altus Plumbing. I would obviously mean to say it's Atlas Plumbing is what I was actually thinking.
Okay, that's okay.
So that is not
Thank you.
You're Altus Planning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We shall now move on to Clayton Plug, and he's wanting to speak on item 13 on page 116 of the agenda, and it's relating to the development application for community purpose. Thank you.
Good evening, councillors. Thanks for your time, and apologies if some of this feels like a bit of repetition, but it is another item on the agenda tonight for another community purpose centre, this one on Tuffin Street. And so, similarly, the purpose of my deputation is also to speak to an apparent shortfall in parking and why we actually think that the proposed development in this instance does have an appropriate amount proposed. So, as set out in the officer's report, this building is designed to accommodate 1,149 people, in their opinion. And they are counting this on the basis of a one person per square metre rate, which is based, I understand, from the National Construction Code. But I'd just like to ask you if that really is a fair representation of what is going on in this proposal before you tonight. Yes, the building is 1,149 square metres in size, but it's that large because it needs to accommodate its intended use. And so I encourage councillors to review the plans before you and note that there are several uses that all require different spaces across this building. There's an indoor sports facility with 2 badminton courts, there's function rooms, and there's meeting spaces upstairs. And so our planning report provides significant detail as to the purpose of all of those spaces. And what's more, it's very important to understand that none of those spaces are going to operate at the same time as each other. And so in terms of the city's calculations, I'd just like to use an example to demonstrate why we don't think they're appropriate. This proposal, I'm going to choose the 2 badminton courts in this proposal. Those 2 courts equate to 160 square metres in size. They're in a room that's 450 square metres, which includes manoeuvrability space around the courts and space between the 2 courts. And so the logic provided in the officer's report suggests that these courts are going to be used by 450 people at once. Obviously, that's not the case. And so if you were to assume it was going to be 450 people at once, that's going to give rise to the need for 112 parking spaces. We all know that in reality these courts are only going to accommodate 8 people at any one time. Maybe there's a few spectators, a few umpires. Maybe there are a few other ball sports being played on these courts. But ultimately we don't think that there's a need for 112 bays to support that particular room. The officers are using their policy 4.1 to make these calculations, and it states that a building must have sufficient parking for the amount of persons it's designed to accommodate. But in our firm view, this building is designed to accommodate 300 persons, and so the parking should be calculated on that rate. Whilst the officers are using the National Construction Code, that code doesn't take into account the nuances of what spaces are actually used for, but simply provides a blunt measurement to determine how many you could possibly fit in a building. Perhaps a place of worship might come close to that rate, but this isn't a place of worship. It's a community centre for the community that we represent. Furthermore, our client has also provided a very detailed operational management plan which outlines how the attendee numbers are actually going to be managed, and that's going to be done through an online booking system. In that online booking system, you can't make any further bookings once the attendances have hit 300. So that's an appropriate way, in our view, of managing the amount of numbers. Now, I'd just like to note that officers have verbally indicated to us that attendance maximums are very difficult to regulate. While I don't necessarily agree, there are other ways to enforce conditions that limit.
I'll ask you to wrap it up.
Nearly finished,
you have
yeah.
Gone over your time. Thank you.
So what I'm suggesting is that instead of having conditions on maximum numbers, we could impose a condition that says something like, parking demand shall not exceed the number of parking bays approved for the development, being 75 car bays for the entire development. This kind of condition only means... Sorry, I'm going to
ask you to wrap it up.
Yeah, on the last sentence. This type of condition means that you just have to look at the amount of cars parked in the car park to determine whether the approval is being breached or not. And so that's sort of potentially appropriate way to get around this. Thank you for your time. Look forward to hearing the discussion. I'm happy to take any questions if you do have any.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to Graham Jenkinson. Is Graham Jenkinson here? No, he's not here. He's not here. Okay, thank you. That brings us to the end of public question time. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Can you turn the microphone off for me, please? Thank you. That's your punishment. Thank you very much. Okay, we now move on to the confirmation of minutes. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Islam to move that and Councillor Sajjad to second that. Is there any questions on the minutes, councillors? No? If you would like to cast your vote by show of hands, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. We now move on to the receiving of petitions and presentations. Are there any? No? Are there any applications for leave of absence? There is one, two. Got an application, is that the same meeting? No. What date's that? Yeah, don't know what date that. Councillor Dalton, what date is that for the next meeting? Thanks. Okay. Is it the 10th of March? Your leave of absence. Thank you. We've got two leave of absence. One is from Councillor Sajjad, and it's for requesting leave of absence from the 8th of May to the 8th of June because he'll be travelling overseas, and I'm not sure how many OCMs that will be missing, maybe two OCMs. And I'm going to move these together, I think. And the second one is from Councillor Kylie Dalton, missing the 10th of March for personal commitment, which is the next council meeting. Can I get a mover for those two, please? Councillor Lloyd to move and Councillor Zhang to second. Councillors, if you could cast your vote on those leave of absences, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. You may vote on it as well. Thank you. There are no questions of which due notice have been given. I'm going to bring two items forward for the convenience of the gallery, and they are items number 13.2.6 and 13.2.7, which is in relation to the one of them. 13.2.6, as you can see in front of you, is for the proposed change of use of the warehouse to community purpose at 33 Tulloch Way, Canning Vale, and 13.27 is for the development application at proposed lots 22 and 23 Tuffin Street. So we're going to move on to those ones. Find them now. Okay, can I get a mover, please, for item number 13.2.6, the development application for the proposed change of use from warehouse to community purpose at 33 lot 68 Tulloch Way, Canning Vale. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Mason to move that, thank you, and Councillor Betts to second that. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Betts, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In some ways, it would have been more logical to have the draft planning policy 2.8 debate before this, because that impacts on it. But
questioning my decision, are you?
Yeah, it's your decision. I fully respect the decision. Not a problem at all.
For the benefit of the audience. Thank you.
No problems there at all. I just would indicate that the difficulty we have is that we have this planning policy 2.8, which has this section in about capacity of development, which is, as one of the speakers indicated doing public statement, is a very blunt instrument. And so the difficulty is that staff use that blunt instrument to having to calculate the parking requirement on the basis of the floor space of the building rather than the actual use that the building is being put to. And that's why in the future I will be seeking an amendment to that planning policy, but that's for another day. So I'd just like to say that the proposal that's before us is one that I think can be approved, and I think somebody's going to be moving a foreshadowed motion. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Any further debate on this? Councillor Islam, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I have a concern with the staff recommendation. Firstly, to start with, the main issue raised in this report is parking. Yes, the building technically has a capacity of 350 people, but applicant has been very clear. The centre will operate with a maximum of 60 people at one time. And also, as a council, we shouldn't rely on assumptions when we are assessing planning application. Our decision needs to be based on evidence, enforceable conditions, and actual level of using being proposed. The timetable they have provided shows small, staggered programs, youth activities, community sessions, not large events at all. That brings me to the question of land use. We could require a huge number of parking bays based on building theoretical capacity, but if the facility is never going to be operate at that scale, and the applicant has agreed it won't be, then those bays will sit empty most of the time. And in a location like this, right next to a $1 billion train station, where land is scarce, and then every square meter matters. We need to ask ourselves a question: whether providing more parking than necessary is sensible or efficient use of land use. We have taken practical approach in the past, even where there have been significant parking shortfalls. We approved applications by imposing conditions on attendance.
Sorry, Councillor Islam, I just want to make sure that you're planning on foreshadowing your motion within this speech that you're doing now. That would be a requirement if you wanted to foreshadow something. So when you're finished doing your speech, you would mention your foreshadow motion, wouldn't you?
Well, firstly, we need to refuse the staff recommendation.
You would need to propose that there is a foreshadowed motion that you've got. So within your speech, you would mention that.
Yes,
yep,
sure, yeah.
Thank you.
So we could apply the same approach for this application. So, Madam Mayor, so what I request is to refuse the staff recommendation, and then I will speak later for my foreshadow motion. Thank you.
Copy of his foreshadowed motion.
As long as he's foreshadowed it, yes. I think that's fine.
On this occasion, I'm going to give you an opportunity to read your foreshadowed motion so it is on record. Thank you, Councillor Islam.
All right, thank you very much.
You don't need to read all the conditions out, though. Thank you.
I, Councillor Saiful Islam, propose the following motion. The Council approves the application dated 18th of December 2023 for a change of use from warehouse to community purpose at 33.68 Chillock Way, Kennywell, subject to the following conditions that have been circulated. For the following reasons. As I added in my speech, but also in here, it is considered the amount of parking provided on site is sufficient to accommodate 60 persons in the building at any one time. So the parking can be effectively managed by the operator of the development without impacts on the amenity of the area.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to this item? Councillor Sajjad and then Deputy Mayor Williamson. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to say that because there's a new train station and a bus service there, so I believe that a lot of patrons can also come through the bus service which goes past this facility, and also there's a brand new train station there, so more people will be coming through the train station, so need to keep that into consideration as well.
Thank you, Councillor Sajjad. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Williamson.
Madam Mayor, I have a question in relation to the operational management plan. It's very specific of the number of persons attending on which days and during which times. If this application was to be approved, would the applicant need to advise the city each time their class timetable was adjusted?
Is that for you or for Martin? Thank you for your question, and thank you, Mr. Lafort. Thank you. He's the Director for Planning, everybody.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. If the condition refers to operation in accordance with the management plan, and that forms part of the approval, we would ask that that the city is notified if there's any changes to that.
Any further debate on this item? Councillor Lloyd and then Councillor Dewhurst. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask a question through you, Madam Mayor, to the Director of Planning. All of these different conditions were considered by the staff when making this decision. Can you give me some more insight into the things mentioned, like the public transport, as to why you landed on the decision that you did?
Thank you for the question. Thank you, Mr. Fort.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, when we looked at the parking calculations, we did take into account the way parking is calculated under Local Planning Policy 1.4 parking, which includes discounts for various items, including proximity to public transport. So that was taken into account when we looked at whether a variation, and that was discounted off the amount of parking that we thought was required. Obviously, as per the staff recommendation, the variation was still considered unacceptable.
Thank you. Councillor Dewhurst.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, the reason this is a very difficult decision is because we have applications that come. I've been on council for my 15th year now, and we have many applications come forward for community purposes or places of worship, and we're told this is the amount of people that we're going to have, and there's not going to be an issue to the community. Well, I only can think about 2 in all those years that have actually done what they said they were going to do. So this is why there's a lot of angst, and this is why people sort of stand there and going, well, what's so different about these two? I do have concerns at the fact that these are in industrial areas, in particular where there's going to be a lot of trucks driving around, and if there's things going on during the day, that people will be parking on the side of the roads. It's going to become dangerous, it's going to become congested, we're going to get complaints. And we're getting that now. We get that with the Hindu temple, the mosque that's just beside here. We get that at the Christian one up in the Orange Grove. So it's not just down to one sort of people. However, I do like what we were told from the planner and also from the guy making the recommendation. I also will be supporting the amendment that's come forward, but I think this will do it for me. If they let us down, this proponent's let us down, I don't think I could cross that again. So there's a lot of pressure on them to do the right thing, because it's not fair to the community, it's not fair to businesses, it's not fair to other people. So I ask them, please do the right thing, and then we won't have any issues. But unfortunately, it's organisations who have travelled before them that have caused this issue that we face today. So thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Dewhurst, is there any further debate on this item, councillors? Did you move it? Would you like to close this item, Councillor Mason? Thank you.
Not really. So I'll be, speaking in favour of the foreshadowed motion, but I just would like to point out that the staff have done their job, essentially. They've done everything as we've asked them to do, and it's up to us as council to apply any discretionary power to our policies, and I think this foreshadowed motion enables that. So I guess I'll be voting against the staff recommendation, but still thank them for their contribution in the detailed work they've done.
Thank you. Councillors, if you please cast your vote if you are for the officer's recommendation. Thank you. If you could cast your vote if you're against the officer's recommendation. Thank you. That officer's recommendation falls away, and we go back to the foreshadowed motion. Councillor Islam, would you like to seek a seconder on the foreshadowed motion?
Yes,
Councillor
please.
Betts is happy to second that. Now you can speak to the item. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't think I have got much to add, actually, because everything is covered before. Look, I respectfully ask my fellow councillors to support my foreshadow motion. Thank you.
And Councillor Betts, would you like to speak to the item? I would like to speak to the item in that I totally agree with you. The staff have done their job, and they have done exactly what our policies ask them to do, and that's the recommendation that they've been given. So yes, I do appreciate their thing. We have a position where we are able to give some empathy to our community and to understand that, but in the same token, we have a duty to show that empathy to everyone in that area as well, and this really does. If the parking goes onto the streets, it will impact on the people there, so I do hope that the applicants will do the right thing and not park on the streets, because I'm under the impression that we are able to find them quite significant, and we could change our policy to up those fines if we continue to have these issues, I guess. But we hope we don't have to go down that line, but definitely want to be protecting the businesses that are there to conduct their business every day as well. So happy to support your foreshadowed motion, just hoping that we won't have to go down the line of employing extra compliance staff to manage the problems that may arise from this. So thank you for your foreshadowed motion, Councillor Islam. Is there any further debate or questions on the foreshadowed motion? Councillor Islam, would you like to close? No? Councillors, if you'd like to cast your vote on the foreshadowed. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Those that are here for Tulloch Way, you're welcome to stay and see what happens with the next one, or you're welcome to leave. And you're welcome to translate our message on too. Thank you. He doesn't. So we're now going to move on to 13.2.7, which is a development application for community purpose at Lot 100 Southern River Road, Southern River, proposed lots 22 and 23 Tuffin Street. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Betts to move this, and a seconder. Thank you. Councillor Mason does a seconder. Councillor Betts, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just very similar comments to the previous item we've dealt with. Again, our policy provides the staff with a very blunt instrument for assessing the parking requirement, and on the basis of that existing policy, they've done their job and done the sums, and that's how it sort of pans out. But I think the fact that the building or the applicant considers 300 to be the maximum occupancy that they want, which I think is a reasonable number, even though the floor space is bigger and there are different halls within that complex, I'd say the likelihood of all of those halls being used at the same time to require that kind of parking level is quite unrealistic, and that's not the staff's fault, that's actually our policy's fault. So, as I said before, I hope to bring an amendment to that policy in due course. But so in light of that, I believe that this can be approved. I think the 75 parking bays are adequate, and as we heard from the planning consultant, having an online booking system helps to limit the numbers and actually be able to control the number of people coming on the site quite well. So, because even though I moved the motion, it was mainly so we can debate it, I'm actually speaking against the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. The seconder want to speak to this item? Thank you. No? Is there any other debate? Thank you, Councillor Sajjad.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I will be speaking against the recommendation of the staff because it's based on the parking. I believe that this subject site is located on a new business park, which is in the industrial area. So, and most activities will be done after hours, around 4:30 onwards. So it should give us a good mix of and keeps the industrial area active. And also, I believe the occupancy, the current patronage is around 100 and 120. So they are, I believe, in the reports they mentioned that the 300 people is a bit of a buffer zone there as well. So increase if there is an increase. Yes, there is a capacity for the future growth, and also it helps to take the pressure off from the existing community centres and existing facilities. So I believe the parking demand should therefore reflect the realistic peak usage, not the theoretical maximum occupancy of the floor. So I would also like to say that should the staff recommendation is unsuccessful, I will be proposing a foreshadow motion.
Which is?
Which is that I, Councillor Malik Sajjad, propose the following: that the Council approves the application dated 3rd of February 2025 for the community purpose Lot 100 Southern River Road, subject to the following conditions, which I believe everyone has read. The first one is...
you do not need to read all the conditions out. The councillors have all of those in front of them. But thank you.
Right.
You can just put your reasoning at the bottom.
The reason will be, it is considered that a badminton area shown on the plan will be utilised by less people, as the planner said, than the assessment made by the staff. Therefore, parking demand will be enough adequately serviced by the on-site parking provided by the development. In addition, it is considered that the operational management plan will ensure the adequate management on the on-site parking. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Is there any further debate on this item? I just wanted to add to that I know that we did have someone speaking from the gallery talking about the badminton area and how it shouldn't be used, but I think we all know that it's quite easy to take some badminton nets down and allow a lot of people into that area. So I think the staff have done the right thing once again with the policy that we've set for them, and that we could have more people there. But once again, I reiterate that we do have a duty to show some compassion to larger groups within our area, but we have been stung on numerous occasions, and it creates a lot of upset within the community. So, yes, I'm speaking to you guys down there, that we hope this doesn't happen in this case. I'm happy to not support the officer's recommendation on this, and I look forward to the foreshadowed motion, but I would stress that we don't want to be upsetting the community or new businesses there. It's a whole new business park, so we would need you to be containing your cars on that property should the foreshadowed motion get up and this one be defeated. Maybe I'll say that again in the next part. So that is me finished. Has anybody else got anything to say on that item? No. Councillors, if you would like to cast your vote on the officer's recommendation to not approve this. Thank you. So are you against the officer's recommendation? You could put your hand up now. Thank you. Okay, that has fallen away and the foreshadowed motion comes into play now. Councillor Sajjad, would you like to speak to the foreshadowed motion? You seconded it, thank you.
Thank you very much for looking into this proposed foreshadowed motion. So now I believe that the development complies with the planning standards and is appropriately located. So refusing it solely based on the parking calculation would overlook the practical realities of its operation and the broader community benefit it delivers. So yeah, I respectfully ask everyone to approve this development application. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to this as a seconder, Councillor Betts? Is there any other debate or questions? Councillor Islam, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just say this? This facility gives our growing Southern River community a much-needed place to meet, gather and support one another. But can I just also point out this approval, like any other approval, it comes with the responsibilities and obligations for the applicant. So one of the obligations is parking management. The applicant should undertake every reasonable steps to ensure that car parking is managed properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Is there any further debate on this item? Councillor Sajjad, would you like to close the debate? No, thank you. Councillors, if you'd like to cast your vote for the foreshadowed motion. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. For those that are here for item 13.2.7, you are free to leave if you would like. Thank you. I wouldn't normally do this, gentleman, towards the back. Are you waiting on a specific item that you would potentially like me to bring forward, or you just... No, not these two. Sorry. No, you're all good? Both all good? Okay, thank you. I was going to bring it forward for you if there was a specific item. We're now going to go back to item 13.2.1, the draft new planning policy 1.5 for unhosted short-term rental accommodation final adoption. Can I get a move if... Sorry? What do I do? Oh, I do. I was going to skip those two. This is why I have a CEO sitting next to me. 13.11, the elect a motion for the urban forest plan. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Islam to move that. Councillor Dalton to second that. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to the item? Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to the item? I believe Councillor Lloyd, you might have something here. Thank you.
Yes, I have a procedural motion, please. I, Councillor Diane Lloyd, propose the following, that the motion be deferred, and for the following reason, to provide the Gosnells Tree Canopy Advocate Group the opportunity to prepare a submission in relation to the report. I'm seeking a seconder.
Seconder for that, Councillor Sislak to second that. Thank you. Would you like to speak to that, Councillor Lloyd? Thank you.
We were approached by the group that they didn't have enough time to properly consider it and to come in and make some public submissions on it, so they've asked for it to be put forward to the next meeting if possible. And okay. I request support from my fellow councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Councillors, if you please cast your vote on deferring this item. Thank you. That has been carried. Do you want that? We'll now move on to item 13.1.2, the covering the two greens at the Thornley Bowling Club. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dalton to move this and to seconder. Councillor Sajad to second this. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Sajad, would you like to speak to this item? Would anybody else like to speak to this item? Councillor Betts.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I think the wording of the motion is satisfactory. I speak in support of it, and I think the fact that it's kind of open-ended. We don't actually put a dollar value on it because it's going to be somewhere probably between $250,000 and $350,000. I think that's gives, without putting a number on it, it just gives us that flexibility. There's $1.something million in the fund from which we can fund that, so it's not that we're going to be sending the council broke with it. So I speak in support of it, and I think having both of the greens covered will be a very good facility for the city, and the city actually owns it, so it's not we're giving away money, it's actually an asset of the city. So to do the job properly and finish it properly, I think would be well worth doing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Betts. Any further on this? Thank you, Councillor Islam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have an amendment.
Yes, thank you.
I, Councillor Saiful Islam, propose the following: that staff recommendation be amended to read that Council commits cash funding of up to $250,000 towards the cost of covering 2 greens at the Thornley Bowling Club, noting that Commonwealth Government will contribute $1.4 million and the club will contribute $250,000.
Have you got a seconder for that? Councillor Lloyd to second that. Carry on for your...
Thank you. So, look, I'm sure, we all want all our facilities to be improved. And we've got very limited resources. And we also need to be responsible and fair in how we allocate our funding. So I guess for my reasons for my amendment is the Thornley Bowling Club secured $1.4 million election commitment from the Commonwealth Government to construct a roof over two of its greens. However, this funding is insufficient to complete the project, and as a result, the club has requested the city to contribute to the shortfall. The addition to the shortfall, the city would be required to manage delivery of the project at an estimated cost of over $100,000. The full cost of the project remains unknown, however, is expected to be at least $1.9 million. This project comes after the city built new club rooms for the bowling club and tennis club in the year 21-22 at a cost of $5.3 million. $2.3 million. $2.2 million is the sum that was funded by the city, and $300,000 by the bowling club, and $130,000 from Tennis Australia. The city should be cautious about having its funding priorities determined by clubs and groups that are successful in securing election commitments, as this will disadvantage smaller organizations who may be equally deserving of the city's support. As such, I propose that the city's cash contribution towards Thornley Bowling Club club's project be capped at $250,000. This would match the club's contribution towards the project. If there is a funding shortfall, the club would need to look at other potential funding sources to cover the cost.
Thank you, and that's okay. As the seconder, would you like to speak to the item, Councillor Lloyd?
Yes, I am very supportive of this amendment. I think that one of the things that we do as a city is in everything that we do is that we have budgets. And I think that by placing a secured amount on this, we're saying if the quotes come in and they're too high, then it's on the club to re-look at the project and go, how can we bring it back into budget? My concern is that at the moment, if they're having the Rolls Royce of roofs over this project, that if the quotes or the tenders come back higher, then maybe they'll have to go for something that's a little bit, within their budget. So that's what I will be supporting this, because I think that that's the way that we should be being responsible with ratepayers' money.
Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, I won't be supporting this amendment. The reason being is that, what happens if it's $251,000? That cuts it out and they have to go find, okay, they go find their $1. I'll actually probably put my hand in my pocket for them for that. But I think this is just very subjective. I'm concerned about also the well-being of the members there, of having this angst about them that council just cut this off. And this facility will be owned by us. It's a $1.9 million investment, okay, overall, but a $1.4 million from the federal government. I don't think we can turn away from this gift horse in our mouth. And I'd also like to read out a letter from the Ken Pride, the Chief Executive Officer of Bowls WA, where he says, and I'll send this to you, councillors, so obviously some have forgotten, so I'll just read this back to you. There is no doubt that should Thornley receive funding for the 2 undercover greens, it would place the club at the very forefront of bowling clubs in WA, further presenting itself as a venue of choice for state, national and even international events. The ability for multiple matches to be played under the same climatic conditions provides great benefit and security in the conduct of events, and perhaps one day we could even see the finest facility in Australia right here in WA through the covering of all the greens eventually. Councillors, this is that's come from Bowls WA, and this would put Thornley on the map because there are no covered greens to that extent anywhere in West Australia. In fact, I've been told there's only 2 around Australia. I might be wrong. That's what I've been told. So, you know, we're all hung up on this $250,000, but I mean, it might go under. Let's if they come back and it's over, we've got to approve it anyway, councillors. So I can see no need for this amendment at all, because when it comes back to the final adoption of the plan and the costs and everything, we then say yay or nay. And if someone can put their hand up then and say, no, it's too expensive, I don't want to do it, and then we can have this discussion again. So I'm thinking about the mental health of the club and players over there who've been very stressed over this whole process. Let's not add that to them, councillors. Let's, as you said, we've all got different things we like to do in the community and we need to embrace, and quite frankly, I think it's a good spend. I think this is a smart fiscal decision. So, councillors, I ask you not to support the amendment. Thank you.
Councillor Dewhurst. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak for or against the amendment?
I have a question.
Thank you.
So let's hypothetically say if it comes back at 251,000, we can adjust accordingly?
We can adjust accordingly, but if this amendment gets up, we would come back to a council meeting for the $1, wouldn't we? Well, Councillor Dewhurst would pay it, but carry on.
But realistically, they would come back to us. If it came back as 300,000, it will come back to us.
Yes.
Okay. So that's my question.
Yes.
I'm just going to sit down for a moment. I have not
Reserve the
spoken.
right to speak. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Councillor Sislak, thank you.
Sorry, I just have a follow-up question to Councillor Mason's. So even if we approve the staff recommendation tonight, which is that the city will fund the thank you, Councillor Sujad, the residual cost of the 2 greens, if it comes back at a number that we are not happy with, we can still vote against that tender, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No, actually, I have Councillor Dewhurst first. He did have his hand up previously in case you didn't all see it.
I just want to roll this.
He's asked a question, aren't you?
Of course. I just want to roll this point home. This,
Question.
No matter what, will it come back to council to make a final decision?
I think that's the same question that was just asked.
That's why I'm rolling it, the pin down, to make sure we get the strike so everybody understands that.
Thank you. I think
there's
they do.
no need for the amendment.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to be speaking in support of the amendment because one of the things for a club to reduce stress is to know what parameters they're working within. This amendment gives a very clear direction that the city is intending to contribute up to $250,000. When we had the options presented to us at a workshop, there was a number of engineering issues that still had to be overcome, and we didn't know what that escalating cost may be. If we as a council think that $250,000 is around the ballpark of where we want to get to, it is far better for the club to know and have that realistic expectation that they may be asked to value engineer their plans of what they want to reduce the cost so they can find a different way to achieve the same thing but in a more cost-effective way. So I think having those conversations up front is what we're about in local government. We're about transparency. we're being accurate, we're holding to account what the realistic expectations are. And that is far less stressful than a club with an expectation that we're getting 2 greens, we're getting them covered, then the tender comes in 6 months, 12 months down the track, and that comes in $1 million over what we expect. And then council then faces the decision of, no, we're not going to do that. And then the club is faced with, well, we thought you were agreed to do that part. Where are we going to come up with that extra money? So I think by going, this is what we're working with. We're working with that $250 amount matched with $250 by the club. They know they've got a limit. We'll see what the tenders come back as. And of course, if there is a small variation of $1 or $100 or $1,000, this council is reasonable. We're not going to be pedantic over minor amounts like that. So I think, yes, the decision's going to come back, but this gives clear direction to the club of how much we're willing to ballpark invest in this facility on top of what we've previously invested. So councillors, I encourage you to support Councillor Islam's amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Hang on a sec. I had Councillor Sajad's hand up previously, so I'll get him to speak. Thank you.
Yeah, I won't take long, but yeah, I will agree with the amendment. It's better to have a clear picture and a capped price, or whatever we are contributing. It gives a clear understanding to the organisation who will be the recipient and us as well who are contributing. So best to have a clear idea rather than leaving it open-ended. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Betts.
Question. If we actually pass this amendment, that is very clear. $250,000 is the limit of what we're prepared to do. If it comes in and say $270,000, will we actually have to rescind this decision before we can actually agree to pay more? Because this is a formal decision of council, and I would have thought it would need to be rescinded before we could actually pay more. Or am I incorrect on that?
Thank you. Mr. CEO will respond. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, potentially technically, but this is really to guide the application that's being put in by the city to obtain the $1.4 million from the Commonwealth Government. They need to know that the city will commit to something. So whether that's whatever's left or $250,000, I think we can work with either of those numbers. I think then when the tender comes in, you'll just make a decision on the tender, and in many senses that tender decision sort of would acknowledge that you've previously made a decision here. So for me, if the tender required us to put in $251,000 and Councillor Dewhurst was only putting in $500 himself, that we've come to you for the extra $500, noting that you had previously passed that resolution. So.
Okay. Is it Councillor Sislak? Thank you.
Sorry, just a follow-up question. If we put a cap on how much the city will put in lieu of this, is there a chance that the club could lose their grant from the government?
Thank you for your question, Mr. CEO.
Madam Mayor, I think that it's impossible to say 100%, but I think what the Commonwealth needs to know is that basically there's funding there and sufficient funding to cover what we expect to be the cost. Now, we expect the cost to be $1.9 million, and we've got funding for the $1.9 million, so I find it almost impossible to believe that they would reject it, but you know, we're not the decision makers. I can't be absolutely definitive.
Did you want to speak? No. Further debate? Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, this one. Look, I know we all did receive a letter from the club asking, they're expecting to pay the $250,000. They don't think it's going to be anything more, and as the CEO has said, that we can come back for an adjustment on that. So in this case, I'm going to support Councillor Islam's amendment to add a number in there. I think it'll give councillors here some peace of mind on how much we're contributing to it, and I think it sends a clear message to the politicians that give funding for things and they don't give enough funding for the whole lot, which is really frustrating. We've been in this situation before where it's cost the city a lot more and we hadn't even planned on that happening. So somebody is missing out on something in the city this year because of this $250,000. So I'm happy to put that number in. It's what the club are expecting to have come towards it, so happy to support your amendment on this, Councillor Islam. Any further debate on this item, councillors? Would you like to close? No, it's your amendment, councillors. No, it's not. Councillor Islam. Would you like to close? Thank you.
Yeah, well, maybe. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Look, regardless of this amendment, or we are going with the staff recommendation, this would come back to the council. It looks like this will come back to the council. Look, a staff recommendation as it stands would create false expectation for club members and the community that the city would support a project regardless of the value. So this amendment gives the clarity to the club and the community how we are using ratepayers' fund. At the end of the day, this is about equality, and also good stewardship of ratepayers' money. It's about making sure our funding decisions reflect our priorities as a city, not the timing of election cycles. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. If you'd like to cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. And did you get the numbers there? Yep. Okay, thank you. We'll now put the amendment back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item? Right, councillors, if you'd like to cast your vote with the original item. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll now move on to 13.2.1, the draft new local planning policy 1.5, unhosted short-term rental accommodation, final adoption. I feel like I got deja vu then. Can I get a mover for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Mason and Councillor Sislak to second. Would you like to speak to the item? Would you like to speak to the item, Councillor Sislak? Thank you.
Just that I'm sure all us councillors are ready to get this in place now.
Thank you. Is there any further debate or questions on this item, councillors? No? If you could cast your vote by way of hand, thank you. That has been carried. No cheering or clapping in this chamber, thank you. Thank you. 13.2.2, the draft modified planning policy for 2.8, place of worship, community purpose and recreation, private final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Deputy Mayor Councillor Williamson to move this, and a seconder. Councillor Betts to second this. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will be speaking in support of the officer's recommendation. This policy has gone out to advertising, and we did receive feedback as part of that. But one of the things we know is that there hasn't been a change to that component that we received the feedback for. So it's still the same as what it has been, and if in the future councillor wishes to amend it or change from that position, we can do. But in the meantime, it doesn't stop us using discretion when we deem it appropriate to use discretion. So I'm happy to approve the staff recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further? Councillor Betts would like to speak to the item. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to put on public record that while I will be supporting the staff recommendation, I believe there's a serious problem with 3.2b in the current policy. When we put out draft policies and advertise them, we don't often get a lot of feedback, but we received 5 submissions, 3 of which were, I think, copies of each other almost. But there were 5 submissions, and all 5 of them expressed real concern about 3.2b, which is this aspect of capacity of development, which says the proposal shall include details as to the proposed occupancy of the building and the nature of the use of the development. When discrepancy exists between the stated capacity of a building and the assessed capacity as a ratio of floor space per person measured from plans of the proposal, the occupancy will be assessed on the higher figure for the purpose of the parking assessment. Now, all the submissions indicated that there was a real problem in that it meant that it was very difficult for groups to actually, community groups or faith bodies to actually buy a building and gradually develop it. For example, the church that I go to down in Coburn Central, that church was bought about 15 years ago. It was a building that was a hire equipment place, had 2 offices at the front, and was about a 400 square metre tin shed, basically, with 2 big roller doors. Now, on the basis of our policy, the City of Coburn would have had to require us to have 100 parking bays because at 400 square metres. But the City of Coburn said, how many parking bays can you fit in there? That's the maximum occupancy you're allowed to have. And so we've got occupancy of, I'm not sure how they arrived there, it came to 162. I thought it would have come to 160, but anyway. So that's the maximum capacity that's allowed. And over time, as funds became available, the church built a cafe, kitchen area, Sunday school rooms into it and so on, so that now we've got after a long time, we've got still a tin shed on the outside, but the inside is actually a very pleasant church facility. In the city of Gosnells, with our current planning policy 3.2b, that would have been impossible. That would not have been approved unless council used its discretion. But staff would have had to recommend that it not be permitted because it's contrary to the policy that we have. And so I just want to put on public record for those who did put submissions in, or perhaps are watching online, that I will be working with the Director of Planning to seek to come up with an amendment to that policy in the coming months that will address this problem so that we can actually have, that we will appear to be more positive towards community groups and faith groups who want to have a facility in the city of Gosnells, because at the moment, anybody who reads that policy and thinks, whoa, it's really difficult, let's go to some other place, other local government area which doesn't have this policy, we've got a much better chance of getting it approved. And I think we want community facilities within our city, and so the policy's been in place for a while. I do support the staff recommendation just to move it forward, but I will be coming with an amendment, with a motion to amend in due course. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Any further debate on this? Councillor Islam, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I will be also supporting a staff recommendation as well, but just can I just say this, with a clear policy that gives confidence to staff and the community as well. So can I ask the question is, how soon can we get this amended policy? Thank you.
Do it right now if you like. Yeah, a couple of weeks, next couple of weeks. Yes, thank you. Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
I know there's a lot of new people here, but we forget why we actually come to this stage was because people going for places of worship, community things, were actually lying to us. They were saying they were putting 100 people in there, and they were putting 500, 1,200 people in there. Okay, so this is where it is now. So, councillors, have a good think before you start recommending adoptions of changing stuff. Have a look at the history of why we got it there. It took us a long time to get it in. Now, a new council comes in and says, oh, bugger everything, let's just do it our way. Well, it shouldn't work that. It does work that way, because that's the way our politics works. But, I mean, we got here for a reason. So let's have a really good think about it before you start looking at amending stuff and that. We've got to look after the wider community as well as those who want to have places of community and worship. I understand that, but not at the detriment to the wider community, because people have had a gutful. Okay, and I've got to say, when I get complaints now, I'll put it down to my two friends who've moved those motions today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Is there any further debate on this item? Just to add to that, obviously, Councillor Dewhurst, you are correct. We had an issue last weekend out at the Hindu temple where I know that the staff were out there for all hours of the night, which was costing the city quite a bit of money, and it's unfortunate that some of these groups are doing the wrong thing, and they need to work out a way to find a better balance for that. And hopefully those that are supportive of places of worship, which we all are, but those with the people in the know and know people, maybe you could have some conversations to make sure that try to get that in control, because people are annoyed and they are frustrated that sort of thing is happening. So, okay, anything further? Councillor Sajjad, thank you. Yep, after Councillor Sajjad, thank you.
Just a random question. I agree with what Councillor Dew has said, but is there a way, rather than restricting or putting a limitation on approvals, we can put some kind of control measures? I know you just quoted an example from last week. Is there something which you can put as a control measure rather than saying just don't approve it? So, like, I don't know if it's the right example or not. If someone is not wearing the seat belt, we can't just take the seat belt out of the cars. So it's some kind of ramifications or some sort of thing.
I think the whole lot can be discussed at a workshop at a future date, so we can have a discussion on that. You got a question, Councillor Betts?
Just in regards to your comment about what happened at the Hindu temple, just a question. Did the infringement notices cover the wages of our rangers for the night?
It didn't cover the angst of the community, Councillor Betts. And I did ask that question earlier myself, and Councillor Bradbrook, the Director for Business Services, Mr Bradbrook, he said no. Don't worry, you don't need to answer. He said no. Thank you. Is it Councillor Islam? Thank you.
Sorry, can I ask questions? Yeah, please. Yeah, for the benefit of the community, because not everyone is aware of what happened on the weekend in the temple. Maybe if we can get an update about if the city is aware of what happened, how many infringement was issued, why issued, things like this. We'll appreciate it.
Well, we could. It's not really relevant to this item, but you could get that at a later date. Thank you. Did you have something?
Can I? No, I can't.
Can we move on then if there's no further debate on this item? You got a question? What's happening?
No, I was just going to have a motion that this be put.
Well, we're getting to that. Thank you. Thank you. Is there any further debate on this, councillors? If you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Moving on to 13.2.3, the draft modified local planning policy 3.5 for infill development final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Adams to move this and Councillor Sislak to second this. Councillor Adams would like to speak to the item. Councillor Sislak? Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. 13.2.4, the draft modified local planning policy 3.6, structure plan final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dalton to move this and Councillor Dewhurst to second this. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Dewhurst, would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Councillors, if you please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. 13.2.5, the draft modified local planning policy 4.1, public art final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Deputy Mayor Councillor Williamson to move this and seconded by Councillor Zhang. Thank you. Is there any debate or questions on this item? Councillor Betts, thank you.
I just think it's good to note that the maximum amount that has to be given for artwork has been reduced from 100,000 to rather from 250 to 100,000. I think that's a really positive move. So I'm very supportive of the change.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Anything further, councillors? No. If you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll now move on to 13.2.8, the development application for commercial vehicle parking at 126 Lot 107 Blanche Street in Gosnells. Can I get a mover for this, please? Mover, please. Thank you, Councillor Islam. Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Lloyd? No. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Thank you. If you could please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. If there are no objections, I'll move 13.5.1, 13.5.2, 13.5.3 and 13.5.4. You've got some amendments here, haven't you? Sorry. 13.5.1, policy review. Can I get a mover for this, please? A bit slow putting your hands up tonight, councillors. What's happening? Councillor Islam, thank you. Councillor Zhang to second that, thank you. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Zhang? No. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Serena Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to move an amendment. I actually have three amendments, but the first one is the purple coloured page, which reads, I, Councillor Williamson, propose the following, that staff recommendation 4 of 4 be amended by inserting the following words after the table, subject to clause 7 of policy 5.4.12, elected member training and development being amended to include provision allowing elected members with less than 6 months of their term remaining to attend any event hosted by the city. for the following reason. Elected members should be able to attend events that are organised and hosted by the city for elected members to be adequately able to perform their duties up until the end of their elected term.
I'm happy to second that if you'd like to speak to it. Thank you.
Thank you. So at the moment, we do not allow any elected members to attend any event or training within the last 6 months of their term. What has occurred is when we have run events here in the city, elected members have had to come to council and ask for permission to be able to attend when there's actually a fee attached to that. So I think it's common sense. If it is something to do to provide benefit for our city, you're still an elected member for another 6 months. The costs are not high and it still enables you to attend and perform your duties. So I would ask you to support that amendment.
I think that happened as early as last year with the NGAA, didn't it? So yes, you're right. I'm happy to support that. Is there any further? Councillor Islam, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just ask a question for clarity? When we say attend any event hosted by the city, the event that hosted by the city doesn't cost the city, elected members can attend, right? It's only for the events that cost the city. Is it correct?
That's correct, yes. But there are events that the city hosts, like the NGAA last year. We were host of that.
Okay.
And a former councillor had to get permission from this council to attend it, even though it was the city that was hosting it.
Yes,
So
yeah, I remember that,
on
yeah.
occasion, we do have events that the city hosts that cost money, basically.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anything further on this amendment, councillors? No, thank you. If you could cast your vote on this, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll put that back with the original item, and I believe you have got further amendments, councillor.
Thank you. The second amendment is on the white page, which reads, I, Councillor Williamson, propose the following, that staff recommendation 404 be amended by inserting the following words after the table. Subject to clause 9.3 of policy 5.412, elected member training and development, being amended to state that the city will meet the cost of accommodation for elected members for the night on which an interstate event concludes. For the following reason, it is reasonable and consistent with work health and safety requirements for the city to cover the cost of accommodation for the night on which an interstate or international conference ends, rather than expect elected members to fly home on the day the day an event concludes.
You're seeking a seconder for that? Councillor Lloyd, thank you.
So our policy had a very old term in there which didn't allow councillors to stay the night the event concluded. So if the event ended at 4 p.m. that night, councillors were expected to arrange flights, fly home, drive or get a taxi home back to their house, as long as they arrived home by 10 p.m. If they were not able to do so, they would then have to pay for that night's accommodation themselves. We've come a long way in work health and safety. That sort of condition of expecting someone attend a conference all day and then go on to travel into the night and get home at 10 p.m. is no longer acceptable. So I think it's time that our policy comes into line with acceptable best practice.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The seconder, would you like to speak to this? Thank you.
I didn't think I was going to have anything to say, but I do. I actually think that it's a really good thing too, because I know for myself, when I do a really long day of learning, sometimes I just want some time to sit in and think about it afterwards. And it was when you were explaining about that, if you had to then gather up your stuff and race to the airport. So I think that for that reason as well, we're there and attending an event to get the most out of it that we can. And I think that having that time of reflection, or even to be able to meet with other people while we're there and chat to them, is a really positive thing for the city. So I'm very happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Is there any further debate or questions on this, councillors? No, thank you. If you'd like to cast your vote on that amendment, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. And you have another amendment, councillor?
Yes, so the third amendment, which is the last one I have, I, Councillor Williamson, propose the following. The staff recommendation 404 be amended by inserting the following words after the table, subject to the addition of a new subclause 5.1e to policy 5.4.12, elected member training and development, that reads, E, an elected member wishing to attend an interstate or international event must first complete the prescribed mandatory training modules. For the following reason, elected members should prioritise completion of mandatory training modules prior to attending other discretionary forms of interstate or international events, which inherently demands greater time and costs than completing the mandatory training.
Can I get a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Dalton. Would you like to speak to the item? Thank you.
Thank you. So the introduction of mandatory training came in recent years, and the reasoning behind mandatory training is to give elected members the foundations to be able to perform their duties adequately. The earlier that an elected member completes that training, the earlier they can actually perform their duties to their full potential, I guess. What you do have under the legislation, you have 12 months to complete that, so you still have the 12 months. This requirement wouldn't be rushing you to do that. Instead, it's asking that newly elected members prioritise the mandatory training rather than travelling to interstate conferences which may be attending a particular interest before they've actually laid the foundations of their training of how to operate on council. So I think it's, in any workplace, you would normally have your basic workplace training, which equivalent is the mandatory training, and then beyond that, you then start to attend more specialised training or more interest training for what you feel you need for your development and would benefit the city. So I think this would be, we've had a really good council. Everyone's completing their mandatory training and they're taking on additional modules, which is really great. So I don't see any negative of incorporating this amendment. Thank you.
Who's the seconder? Okay, I saw it here first and then you, Councillor Dewhurst. Councillor Betts, thank you.
Just wondering, as a person who has been on council for 2 terms already, I have to do the compulsory, what's called compulsory, what do they call it? The mandatory, that's the word, mandatory training modules. If I wanted to go to a conference, say, last week, I still haven't done the budget one again. I've done it before. So I'm just wondering whether, rather than moving an amendment, whether the mover would be willing to change that to a first-time elected member. I think that would take care of that. I think that's your intent from what I understood. Is that acceptable, Madam Mayor? Yep. Thank you.
The seconder, are you happy with that? So it would read E, brackets, a first-time elected member. Does that wording work for you, Mr Bradbrook, as well? Thank you. And Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Also on that as well, I'd also like to offer, if we can put in some words here where it says first have completed prescribed mandatory training modules that are available, because up to about a week ago, the 5th module is not available, hasn't been written yet. So councillors may be waiting, unless they're out now, unless someone can tell me they've done the 5th one. All right, so the 5th one's out then. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll
this is only for first-time elected members, which you would have done previously anyway.
I've done 4.
Yeah.
And
you'd have done them before.
No, I've done 4 since I've been elected again this time.
Yeah. And
but the 5th one, I haven't done it because they said they were going to notify me when it was out. But okay.
And I'll just ask a question on this, and this is obviously a policy, and if there were unusual circumstances, someone could come to council for a decision to have this overridden. So there is that option. Just need to have a very good reason. Okay, is there any further debate or questions on this, councillors? One reason could be that you haven't been able to get to the 5th one because they haven't written it out or whatever. So Deputy Mayor, would you like to close the debate on this? No. Councillors, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. We'll now put all of those amendments back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item, councillors? No? Okay. Then if you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. I now plan to move 13.5.2, 13.5.3 and 13.5.4 all together unless there are any objections. No, thank you. Can I get a mover for all three of those, please? Thank you, Councillor Islam. Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Adams. Thank you. And we'll be putting that to the vote. Thank you. Thank you. They're all carried. We now have 14.1, the amendment to the Local Planning Policy 1.3. Seeking a mover for that. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to move that? Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Seeking a seconder for that, thank you. Councillor Sajjad, thank you. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to speak to it?
Yep, Madam Mayor, so what's come about of this is I've been approached by two people who are out there who want to do the right thing by the neighbours because, as people know, I've been working closely with the community out there to try and make sure we get some balance out there. And what this is about is that I had a gentleman approach me and says he wants to put up short tilt panels, store short tilt panels on his property, which he's allowed to do. And but he's concerned about his neighbour and doesn't want to affect the amenity of him. So what he's proposing is putting up, those very long. I can only describe them as greenhouses. So they're a temporary structure. They're made of obviously steel on the inside, but a light steel. But they have that hardened white plastic on the outside. They look like igloos, big long igloos. And so he wants to put those tilt panels in there so as not to.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, do you need a seconder? You got a second? And
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
She always puts me off like that, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I know. So he wants to do the right thing by his neighbour, and I think it's smart to be able to do that. It's not a permanent structure; it's a temporary structure as per the policy. But unfortunately, the way we've worded it is he can't actually do that, or he has the panels outside. The second person who approached us, he's going to store caravans on that property, and likewise he wants to put his caravans undercover, but he also wants to detract from the what's called the amenity of his neighbours. He therefore wants to put non-permanent structures up there, actually made of the same stuff. So it's a bit of an oversight we did when we brought this policy through. It's actually to help them out, help the neighbours out, and get to where we want to be and try and keep everybody happy. They're not very tall structures, but they're just the same as long greenhouses. That's all they are. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. The second, Councillor Sajjad, would you like to speak to this item? Okay, thank you. I have a couple of questions. I'm not sure who to ask them of. You're talking about Mooksy as a whole or specific precincts? Because you've actually just said Mooksy in here, so that's my first question. Did you want to number what Mooksy precincts you were referring to, if you wouldn't mind? You're referring to 2 and 3B.
2B and 3, yeah.
2 and 3B. Thank you.
2 and 3B. Yep.
So, just so councillors are aware, that means the development in Mooksy 2 and 3B, not Mooksy 1 or 4. Is it 4? 3A. 3A. Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's the first thing. And then I have a question for the director. Yes, that's you. Thank you. Would you still need a building permit for the items that's been described? Those long, hard plastic steel frame structures that's been referred to? You might not need a DA under our policy, but would you need a building permit?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, you would generally need a building permit for those size structures with those footings.
Okay. And you're also talking about sea containers, Councillor Dewhurst? That's in here as well, is it? No? Yeah. Sea containers as well. So would you need building permits for the sea containers, or is that going to go back to the rural one where you don't? Yes. That's the intention. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, you would need building permits for those as well.
Okay. And the last question is, I can't remember what the clearing rules are in the Mooksy 2 and 3B would you be able to tell me what the clearing rules are in Mooksy 2 and 3B? Can somebody just go and clear the whole block without our approval? I can't remember, I'm sorry. If you could refresh my memory.
Madam Mayor, there's no particular clearing rules. When we've looked at rezoning, the work showed that probably 220 of the 270 odd hectares in 2 and 3B were effectively completely cleared. Now, there are some environmental features which are marked on the plans and which shouldn't be cleared. But other than that, if people have got an odd tree on their property until council changes its approach and deals with trees on private properties, people can effectively clear the trees. And there are things about when you do need clearing permits. You know, if you're clearing too many trees, but that rule isn't specific. You know, it doesn't sort of say if you're clearing more than 2 trees, you need a clearing permit.
So this land is still considered rural, correct? At this stage. So in the rural area, you need to have a permit if you're going to clear more than X amount of acreage of land, don't you? So that's the answer then. You can't clear more than a hectare in the Mooksy without without approval?
That's correct, Madam Mayor. The approval's not through the city though; it's through the state. Obviously, it's through De Weur that you would need that approval for clearing over a hectare of vegetation.
Sorry, does that apply to people in the rural area as well? They've got to get it through De Weur, or they get it through us?
It's through De Weur as well.
Is it? Okay, learn something new. Everyone know that? I didn't know that. Okay. Sorry, yeah, okay. What? Okay.
I understood, Councillor Deuce, perhaps you can answer that through the chair. You're talking about these structures to be put up. The motion here is about container-mounted tension fabric structures. So these structures actually put on top of containers or between containers? Because that's what it says. So I'm just wondering. Sorry? I can't quite picture that, but perhaps I'm...
Does that answer your question? You're suggesting that you've got containers on each end, the dome comes and then it goes right through? Yes, that would be good.
So you've got a container here, and you've got a big igloo that goes between them, and they get access through the middle. So the containers are there is used to, well, they can do storage in that, but also holds them down as well. So it won't be much taller than a container.
Sorry, Councillor, are you talking about the domes like that on each side of the sea container?
No.
No, you're not.
It's between the containers. So there's 2 things that people want to do. People want to put containers up, this is not a part of it, and put a dome structure on there. That's already covered under the policy, right?
Yep.
What these people want to do is they want to put containers on each end, like this, and then put a big igloo, like a greenhouse in between them, okay? Not on top of the containers, but it goes up to the container, but they can incorporate the container in there, so it's not much higher than a container.
Councillor Dewhurst, you might have to amend your motion to write that wording in there because that's not what's been asked for in here. So do you want to get a few words to put in here, and we'll, yeah, if you wouldn't mind, just so that it's very clear on what you're referring to. We'll just give you a couple of minutes. Thank you. Thanks, councillors.
Problem we got, Madam Mayor, is that if people don't deal with these sort of structures and that, probably find it very hard to understand the concept. But it's about safety. It's literally putting, and then the top one is a container-mounted tension fabric structure. And I know it's the word there, dome, is probably we need to use another word. Maybe Grant's got, he understands that.
I think Director Bradbrook has got something to add to this, if you wouldn't mind, Director. And maybe it's just that non-permanent structures need building approval in these areas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am familiar with this and the structures that that Councillor Dewhurst is talking about, and myself and the Director of Planning and Development had a conversation about the structures, and for all intents and purposes, they are a container, a tension fabric structure, exactly the same as you would put on sea containers, other than they're not on sea containers. They have steel supports on the sides. The temporary structures, they will still need a building permit, but the conversation that we had was that they would be, from a development perspective, treated exactly the same in terms of requiring planning approval.
So do you think these words cover what you've just described then for a council?
Yes, I do, yep.
You do?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess it's up to people to speak against it if they don't think that. So where are we up to? Councillor Dewhurst.
Okay, so just so you know...
No, I don't know that you're closing yet, because I'll just see if there's any further debate.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any further debate on this item, councillors? Deputy Mayor, thank you.
I just have a question. So the container-mounted tension fabric structures, the white ones that we see sitting on top of sea containers in a lot of industrial areas, it's that, can I clarify, it's that but on the ground between the containers? Yeah, okay. And then I just have another question. The second part of it is to have more sea containers as well. So would there be any extra drainage requirements if someone's covering a large amount of their land with these domes and sea containers?
Thank you, and Director Lafort will respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If they were being placed on large hard stand areas, then yeah, there would be drainage implications, because obviously any water draining onto those would need to be dealt with, so that would need to be looked at, and they would need to be dealing with that as part of the exempt development. If they were being put on just area that's not hard standard, then it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But we'd be asking for that, for them to be addressing that, and if it turns out they didn't address the drainage, then it wouldn't be exempt from planning approval and would be required to come through.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, can I just clarify? So if this is passed with this exemption, do they need to apply for any planning approval for that, or is it just when they do a building approval?
Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So if they apply under the MUCSI 2 and 3B under the compliance policy, they wouldn't, and that then talks to this exempted development policy, they wouldn't need the planning approval. So they would just need potentially a building permit, depending on the structure, but they wouldn't need planning approval. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that should do. Anything further? Any other questions or debate on this? Councillor Islam, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I just say I'm really confused, to be honest. So it will be very difficult to actually vote for me either way. So can I ask this to be deferred, maybe come to the workshop, maybe have a chat?
You would need to move a procedural motion to defer if that was the case.
Yes, please.
And you need a seconder for that. Councillor Lloyd is happy to second that, and then you can speak to why you want to defer it. And
all right, thank you very much. I guess looking at the question back and forth and asking is still very difficult for particularly for me to digest what's been discussed and what I'm voting for, yes or no. So I need clarity before I make my decision. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you would like to defer it, please raise your hand now. If you would like to defer the item, please raise your hand now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The item has not been deferred. We shall move on with debate. Thank you. You still have a right to ask questions, Councillor Islam, if that's something you might like to do. Maybe is there any further debate or questions then? Councillor Dewhurst, maybe you'll answer some of those questions. Oh, you do? Thank you.
Hi, Madam Mayor. I will be speaking against the motion. There is still a lot of confusion here. So for me personally, I find it very difficult to support an amendment to a policy that I don't understand. So I will not be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Williamson. Is there any further debate or questions on this item, councillors? Okay, Councillor Dewhurst, if you would like to close the debate. Thank you.
So, thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, there's not much to really get confused about. I mean, I'm sure everyone has seen those structures that sit on sea containers, that white plastic. This is all that is, right? And it sits at. I'm going to get. I think it's 3.5 metres tall, or it might have been 3 metres. I can't remember now. It's not very tall at all. The one gentleman who wants to actually put this panelling in there wants to actually put a sea container on each end like that. So actually, I don't know why potty to store stuff in there, but he will fix that to the top of the sea container. So it'll probably actually only sit on the sea container about that high. So all it is everyone's seen a greenhouse before, I'm sure. They're big, long things we grow stuff in, and that's all it is with the white fabric on. That's all they're asking for them to do. So I make it and I pound it into the people over there when they come to us. They need to be putting their permits in, building permits in, and if there's any issue in regards to water or anything like that, that'll be picked up during that process there. So I just ask you to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. If you please cast your vote on the motion if you're in support of it. Thank you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. That has been carried. Thank you. Moving on to a confidential item. So, councillors, I need to close the council meeting. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Dalton to move that, and Councillor Sajad to second that. Councillors, please cast your vote on closing the council meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Declare the council meeting closed at 8:52. Thank you very much to the people in the gallery. We will be closing the council meeting. You are welcome to wait outside until the confidential item has been dealt with, or we wish you good night. Must be the man that wants to.